mind-blowing quantum experiment shows that time has never existed. In 2012, U.S. National Medal of Science Award winner Yakir Aharonov, who is regarded as one of the world's leading quantum theorists, published a paper in Nature Physics showing that the present is constrained by the past and the future. This means that what happens in the present can depend on what happened already in the future, which makes no sense, as quantum physics rarely does. But let's think of déjà vu, things that we've seen in a dream or some kind of a feeling that we've already relived. How is that possible? Or a dream that comes true. Anyway, it also means, he says, that what happened in the past can affect the present. Seems strange, doesn't it? It's definitely something hard to wrap your head around. He said, we chose to examine a phenomenon which is impossible, absolutely impossible, to explain it in any classical way, and which has it in the heart of quantum mechanics. In reality, it contains the only mystery. This is what Richard Feynman, Nobel laureate of the 20th century, Radin Dean, Entangled Minds, Extrasensory Experience in a Quantum Reality, New York Paraview Pocket Books, 2006. This is not the first time quantum physics have studied the structure of time, and below are details of an experiment, the same one mentioned in the paper cited above. Delayed choice, quantum erase time. There is another groundbreaking, weird experiment that also has tremendous implications for understanding the nature of our reality, more specifically the nature of what we call time. It's known as the delayed choice experiment or quantum eraser, and it can be considered a modified version of the double slit experiment. To understand the delayed choice experiment, you have to understand the quantum double slit experiment. In this experiment, tiny bits of matter, photons, electrons, or any atomic sized object are shot towards a screen that has two slits in it. On the other side of the screen, a high-tech video camera records where each photon lands on the screen. When scientists close one slit, the camera will show us an expected pattern as seen in the video below, and when both slits are open, an interference pattern emerges and begin to act like waves. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. This does not mean that atomic objects are observed as a wave, even though it recently has been observed as a wave. They just act that way. It means that each photon individually goes through both slits at the same time and interferes with itself, but it also goes through one slit and it goes through the other. Furthermore, it goes through neither of them. As the single piece of matter becomes a wave of potentials expressing itself in the form of multiple possibilities, and this is why we get the interference pattern. How could a single piece of matter exist and express itself in multiple states without any physical properties until it is measured or observed? Furthermore, how does it choose which path out of multiple possibilities it's going to take? Then, when an observer, quote unquote, decides to measure and look at it, which slit the piece of matter goes through, the wave of potential paths collapses into one single path. And this is really strange, really strange. Now, the particle goes from becoming, again, a wave of potentials into one particle taking a single route. It's as if the particle knows it's being watched. The observer is called the observer effect. The observer has some sort of effect on the behavior of the particle. I mean, let me laugh. Are you telling me these tiny little things know when we're watching them or when we're not watching them, and they behave, they sort of go back into behaving properly if we're watching them? I mean, this is ridiculous. But, I mean, this is what they have found. So you can view a visual demonstration explanation of the double slit experiment in the link here. This quantum uncertainty is defined as the ability, quote, according to the quantum mechanic laws that govern subatomic affairs, of a particle like an electron to exist in a murky state of possibility to be anywhere, everywhere, or nowhere at all until clicked into substantially by a laboratory detector or an eyeball. I mean, can you make any sense out of this? But this is what they have found. This is according to the New York Times. Now, according to physicist Andrew Truscott, lead researcher from a study published, I mean, this is real, but I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I mean, this is scientists like to be, they have the scientific method. They have to prove everything that if they find something, anyone coming after them can do the same experiment, come out with the exact same result. This is the scientific method. So, according to physicist Andrew Truscott, lead researcher from a study published by the Australian National University, the experiment suggests that suggests that reality does not exist unless we are looking at it. So the chair I'm sitting on right now, okay, I'm not looking at it, but I'm sitting on it. I guess you have to also physically touch it. Anyway, according to physicist Andrew Truscott, that reality does not exist until we actually are looking at it. It suggests that we are living in a holographic type of a universe. Delayed choice quantum erased time. So how is all of this information relevant to the concept of time? I'm sorry. I'm just one of those people that believe that you can't go back in time and fix something, or you can't go into the future and, do something. I just have a problem with that. But anyway, this is what these scientists are saying. Just as the double-slit experiment illustrates how factors associated with consciousness collapse the quantum wave function, a piece of matter existing in multiple potential states, into a single piece of matter with defined physical properties, no longer a wave, all those potential states collapsed into one. The delayed choice experiment illustrates how what happens in the present can change what happened in the past. It also shows how time can go backwards, how cause and effect can be reversed, and how the future caused the past. I'm sorry. And it also shows how the future caused the past. All right. Like the quantum double-slit experiment, the delayed choice quantum eraser has been demonstrated and repeated time and time again. So this experiment has been repeated time and time again. For example, physicists at the Australian National University, ANU, have conducted John Wheeler's delayed choice thought experiment. The findings were recently published in the journal Nature Physics, and the source is here. In 2007, scientists in France shot photons into an apparatus and showed that their actions could retroactively change something which had already happened. Quote, if we attempt to attribute an objective meaning to the quantum state of a single system, curious paradoxes appear. Quantum effects mimic not only instantaneous action at a distance, but also, as seen here, influence of future actions on past events, even after these events have been irrevocably recorded. Asher Perez, pioneer in quantum information theory, and there's sources there for this. The list literally goes on, and was first brought to the forefront by John Wheeler in 1978, which is why I'm going to end this article with his explanation of the delayed choice experiment. He believes that this experiment was best explained on a cosmic scale. Cosmic scale explanation. He asks us to imagine a star emitting a photon billions of years ago, heading in the direction of planet Earth. In between, there is a galaxy. As a result of what's known as gravitational lensing, the light will have to bend around the galaxy in order to reach Earth, so it has to take one of two paths, go left or go right. Billions of years later, if one decides to set up an apparatus to catch the photon, the resulting pattern would be, as explained above in the double-slit experiment, an interference pattern. This demonstrates that the photon took one way and it took the other way. One could also choose to peek at the incoming photon, observe it with our eyeball, setting up a telescope on each side of the galaxy to determine which side the photon took to reach our Earth. The very act of measuring or watching which way the photon comes in means it can only come in from one side. The pattern will no longer be an interference pattern representing multiple possibilities, but a single clump pattern showing one way. What does this mean? It means how we choose to measure now affects what direction the photon took billions of years ago. Our choice in the present moment affects what had already happened in the past. This makes absolutely no sense, which is a common phenomenon when it comes to quantum physics. Regardless of our ability to make sense of it, it's real though. This experiment also suggests that quantum entanglement, which has also been verified, I read more about it here in the link, exists regardless of time, meaning two bits of matter can actually be entangled again in time. Time as we measure it and know it does not really exist. References cosmic scientists in this unbended reality. Amazing. This is amazing because by the scientific method, these things have been proven over time and time again. Anyway, please leave your thoughts on this, your comments, and thank you for your support.